Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvellously well. We're here back at Brighton Electric in Studio 1 with the broadcast Neve, and we're here to try out some new speakers. And it's our friends, Cali Audio, and yeah, they are friends. We do like what they do. Cali brought out the LP6s, geez, how long ago now? I want to guess 5 years ago. And if you remember when they came out, they really did kind of kick the butt of everybody because they were the first kind of $300 a pair speakers that sounded good. It was a great kick up the butt of the market, and everybody started re-evaluating their lower range. And it really helped. All of these companies started producing really great sounding, relatively, the word relatively, inexpensive monitors. This is the SM8. This is not the inexpensive monitors. This is more of a foray into a higher quality, higher price point. I'm excited to try them. As you can see, they're completely unboxed. I have not yet heard them, and I haven't even managed to find a knife to cut it open with yet. Skizzers. So let's unbox and have a look. This is just one. It's funny, they shipped them to me by DHL. And they came over 2 separate days, 3 days apart. I don't think they shipped them in 2 separate ones. I think DHL, couldn't find the other one. Shout out for DHL. Hey, every person we've had shipped has had issues or been amazing. There it is. SM Series Quick Start Guide. I presume this is a power cable, if I was to be a betting man. Don't see one anywhere else, so. Amar, the cameraman, is laughing at me. So it's fine, you can all laugh at me. Let's have a look. Look at that. It's all rather lovely. Oh, it's really substantial. I don't know how it comes across on camera, but yeah, first of all, it's not light, it's substantial. Let's have a look on the back. Okay, network in. I presume that is for setting up any kind of profiles. Don't know, we're going to find out. I see you have the dip switches here for the sound of the room. Oh, I see. So we're going to have it up on a meter bridge, which is here, which is all switches up. All 1, 2, and 3 up. So we'll set it up like that. Bob is your uncle. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Already set up on this one here. So SM8s are up. I'm going to listen to a couple of things for about 2 minutes. Okay, so these are obviously clearly 8-inch. The Genelecs are the 6, and the ATCs, I'm guessing, are 12-inch speakers. It's going to be quite a difference. I recorded this, but this was mixed by Crystal Algae. I wake up and wonder how everything went wrong. Am I the one to blame? Okay, that's just 5 seconds of each, probably less. Difference is really, really stark. ATCs, which is the last thing I listened to, really deep, super, super low lows. The Genelecs, incredibly mid-rangey when you hear between the two. Like, incredibly. We noticed that with other speakers. And when I say mids, I mean that's 701, 1.2 kind of area. Immediately the SM8s sort of fit. They're much, much closer. And this is with no calibration, just with the 3 settings which were suggested for sitting on top of a console. It's the only thing we've done. We haven't calibrated anything yet. All right, I'm going to be really honest. I love these. Straight away love them. So the ATCs are great. They're fantastic. They got so much frickin' lows. I was sitting on massive subs down there, but they are big boom and fizz boxes if ever I heard. I've mixed on these several times. We did the Roblox stuff and the Wrong Trousers here, and recorded and mixed in a day on both songs, just like literally recorded, mixed the songs. I haven't done any calibration. The SM8s are already jumping out to me. The extended low end, That's the right way of saying it. I'm sure I'm not using the right terminology, but the low end is there, but it's got some of the mids that I like from the Genelec. I wish I could explain it more to you. Well, I can. Listen, if you listen to the snare, I mean, it's a tiny little mic, but if you listen to the snare's got this kind of kind of like literally like a knocking sound, which is the sound of the snare. This is my room. I know the sound of the snare in that room, and it's got that real kind of knock, knock, knock. When I go to the ATCs, it all disappears. And so it's like, so basically it's got the low lows of the ATCs, not as great, it never can be, it's got huge subs, but an extended low end, but it's also maintained the mid-range attack of the snare. An old friend told me that you found somebody new. Snare's so subdued on the ATCs, it's really weird. And I'm gonna move back a little bit. I mean, we haven't calibrated, we haven't done anything. Already winning, really good job. We've been fans of Cali's since the beginning. They're very adaptable. They bring out a product. The LP6s obviously came out and shook the world up in a really positive way. Every speaker manufacturer went back and redesigned their lower end ones. We talked about this earlier, and that was great. It was really good for our community, our music community, because it now meant that more people had access to affordable speakers that sounded really, really good. So God bless them for that. They're all ex-JBL guys, so they're not stupid. JBL's obviously a wonderful company. This could be them sort of really seriously winning to move into a higher price point. So these are certainly not the cheapest speakers on the market. They're basically $2,500 each, so $5,000 a pair. That explains why I think they sound that good. I didn't know the price beforehand. So they're basically $5,000 for a pair of speakers. Cali have moved into a world where they have a competitive speaker that's going to stand alongside the $5,000 and above for a pair of speakers. So there is a manual calibration that you can do. I'm going to play you a little bit of Nate Baglios's video here. They'll show you how to measure the speakers yourself. It seems like for people that have an array of these for an Atmos and immersive sound system, this could be a huge thing. I'm just going to reference songs and listen to them. Immediately, I'm impressed. And then, of course, I saw the price. So I'm not surprised I'm impressed because they're competing in that area. Honestly, God's honest truth, I'd rather mix on these than the ATCs. Not that there's anything wrong with the ATCs, but that mid-range forwardness is lacking for me. I need to hear the way the drums sound in the room. And the Genelecs did it, but of course they're a bit like this in the 700, kind of area that we were talking about before. These straight out of the box, literally with the 3 selections for being on top of a console, immediately sound like what I want speakers to sound like, the SM8s. I'd be working on these now, but for the full calibration, here's a bit of Nate telling you how to do it.
Hi, my name's Nate Baglios. I'm the Director of Marketing for Cali Audio, and in this video, we're going to go over how to use Cali Control Panel. Cali Control Panel is an application for Windows and Mac OS that allows users to control workflow and calibration parameters for our Santa Monica line of speakers. The newest version can be found at caliaudio.com/Santa Monica How-To. To get started in Cali Control Panel, you'll first need to determine whether you're running an online mode, meaning you're running a network cable to each speaker, or offline mode. In offline mode, you'll program each speaker one by one using a USB thumb drive. Online mode is a great choice for large setups, especially immersive setups with overhead speakers where some of the speakers might be out of reach for programming. Online mode allows you to program scenes, which are full configuration parameters that you can change at the press of a button. This can be useful if you'd like to change between tuning parameters at the press of a button. For example, you can save one tuning as flat and another tuning as Dolby Curve or Artist and change between those two. It takes about 5 seconds to load a new profile. Other features like mute, solo, dim, and locate are only available in online mode. Offline mode is a great choice for simpler setups where you don't need to change tunings, especially stereo setups. Offline mode will allow you to load multiple tunings that can be saved and recalled using the dip switches on the back of the speaker. So for example, if you've got speakers that will be used in multiple locations in one facility, you can change a tuning for each of those locations and recall that instantly when you place the speaker. Here's a quick comparison between what online mode does and what offline mode does. For online mode, you will need to connect each speaker in your system to your network via an Ethernet cable. Your computer must be connected to that same network. Connecting one end of an Ethernet cable to your computer and the other end of an Ethernet cable to your Santa Monica speaker will not work. The recommended configuration is to connect each of your speakers to a network switch and then connect that network switch to your modem or wireless router. You may also connect one or more speakers to that modem or wireless router. On the computer, join the Wi-Fi network that your system is connected to, and now you'll be able to find all the speakers. For offline mode, you will need a high-quality USB thumb drive that is formatted for FAT32. The system uses .keq files for programming and .bin files for firmware update. When doing either of these things, make sure that only one file is loaded on the USB drive, so either one KEQ file or one bin file. Having more than one file on the USB drive will result in an unsuccessful load. Once you've decided whether to use online mode or offline mode, it's time to define your configuration. Use the drop-down menu in the top left and choose whichever configuration most closely matches yours. Importantly, as of now, there are no Kali subwoofers that can communicate with Kali control panel, so you can ignore the LFE channel. If your configuration doesn't match one of those that are represented in the drop-down menu, you can choose custom configuration. Custom configuration is a great choice for when you don't have an exact match, as it will ensure that all the speakers in your system are always assigned to their intended location. In custom configuration, you can add as many speakers to the configuration as you like using the Add button in the lower right-hand corner. Once a new speaker is created, double-click it to rename it for its position in your configuration. For example, name it right, left, or center. If you have more speakers in your configuration than you would like, simply right-click a speaker and select Delete Custom Speaker. Once it's named, drag it to the appropriate position within the configuration. Once you've put your configuration together, double-click the name of the configuration, which is New Config by default, and name it whatever you like. In online mode, click Discover to search for speakers on the network. You may have to click more than once to find every speaker on the network, or click it again in case a speaker drops off the network. Once a speaker is in the discovery area, you can use the locate function to determine which speaker it is within your configuration. When you hit the locate button, the front LED of the speaker will flash blue for 10 seconds. Once a speaker is selected in the discovery area, you can use the name tag to rename it. If you're unsure which speaker is which, use the locate feature. Name every speaker in your system. With a speaker named, click and drag it to assign it to a position within your configuration. An assigned speaker will show a green dot in the upper left to show that it's assigned. You'll also see a check mark next to the speaker's name in the discovery area. Repeat this process for every speaker in your configuration. The mute function mutes the selected speaker or speakers. A muted speaker will show a red outline. To mute more than one speaker at once, select each speaker in turn and click the check mark next to mute. Solo will mute every speaker except for the selected speaker. A soloed speaker will have a yellow outline. To solo more than one speaker at once, select each speaker in turn and click the check mark next to solo. Dim will reduce the output level of all speakers in the system by 20 dB. When dim is applied, blue outlines will appear for all speakers in the configuration. Click the box next to Standby to enable standby mode. A timer will appear to show you how many hours and minutes the speaker needs to be idle before going into standby. If you wish to change this amount of time, click the timer and a window will appear that allows you to adjust the amount of time before it goes into standby. You can manually put the speaker into standby mode by double tapping the Kali logo above the woofer. To take the speaker out of standby mode, either pass signal or press and hold the Kali logo until the LED turns blue again. The LED will be orange while the speaker is in standby mode. Press the EQ button to maximize and minimize the EQ panel. The EQ panel displays the EQ for the selected speaker. You can create a new EQ by clicking anywhere in the frequency amplitude chart. To edit an EQ, drag it. Once an EQ is created, you can click and drag it to adjust parameters. Individual EQs are displayed with their parameters below the frequency amplitude chart. For each EQ, you can change the type of EQ by clicking it. By default, all the EQs are peaking EQs. To fine-tune EQ parameters, edit the values for each EQ. From top to bottom, those values are frequency, amplitude, and Q. EQs can also be created using REW or Room EQ Wizard, which is a freeware program. To load KEQ files from Room EQ Wizard or from another instance of Kali Control Panel, click the Download button. This will open a Finder window where you can find the .keq file that you wish to load. Instructions for building .keq files in REW can be found at caliaudio.com/Santa Monica how-to.
So let's do a little bit more listening. Go back to the fray again. I didn't mix the fray, by the way. That was mixed by Mark Endert. The first album, second album was done by Michael Brower. So quick listen to You Found Me.
I found God on the corner of First and Amistad, where the West was all but one.
Yeah, the ATCs are really hollow. It's interesting. The ATCs to the Genelecs, by the way, are the two most opposing sounds of speakers I've ever heard in my life, with the mid-range of the pure mids of the Genelecs and the lack thereof on the ATCs. The two differences are massive. Don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing either speakers. The Genelecs are superb. I grew up with them. ATCs are absolutely amazing. I'm sure if you put a Trinov on this room, on these ATCs, which is not unheard of for somebody who's going to spend the money to buy some beautiful ATCs, they probably would put a Trinov in here. But I'm just letting you know, out the box, the SM8s are just sounding superb. There's a lot of people doing this now. It's great, just like making things that just work straight away.
Alone, smoking his last cigarette. I said, where you been? He said, ask anything. Where were you when everything was falling apart? All my days spent by telephone.
It's also like the low mids, the right quantity of low mids is in the SM8s, and a little bit too much in the low mids of the Genelecs, just a little tiny bit, and nowhere near enough in the ATCs. I made this record over 11 months, and we tracked the drums on this in 2 different locations, and I had to match the drum sound because they rewrote the song, so we kept one section, the choruses, from one studio and then the verses from another studio. We had to match the drum sound. So trust me, I know how the drum should sound.
In the end, everyone ends up alone, losing her, the only one.
SM8 just sounds superb on the snare. The body and the bite is exactly how I wanted it to be.
How long she will be next to me, lost and secure. You found me, you found me.
When you see me leaning back, it's for the ATCs because obviously they're wider and here's a better thing. Genelecs, I really want to give this my full attention. Genelecs.
You found me. You found me.
I haven't seen anybody else's reviews on this. I'd be intrigued to see what they're saying, but Great, great work. All right, let's go to Augustana. There's a song called Hey Now, which was the first single off the second album. The vocal on this was really, really important to me. I spent a long time making sure that we hit the mic pretty hard and we compressed it aggressively, but not too aggressively. So I was literally sitting there with the mic pre, adjusting gain. I had the lyrics printed out. I was ringing words and making comments about where it should be set for every word. I know it sounds obsessive, but I was, because I really wanted this first verse vocal to work. So I use this quite often as a reference point. So it's Hey Now. Plus the guitar part at the beginning. It's got this pure mid-range, dun, 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 dun. I highly recommend you check it out. See what I mean? SM8's first. Genelex, 86.
Sky black and blue, blue to red. It's quiet in the streets now. We're screaming in your head. I ain't a fool. I've got my doubts. They say it doesn't hurt. It doesn't matter anyhow.
Goes up now. Fifth. An octave, actually, sorry.
Say, hey, we're just bleeding for nothing. It's hard to breathe when you're standing on your own. We'll kill ourselves to find freedom.
Now, when the drums come in, it's a big deal. This is recorded in the past, the old Endora, Dave Way's old studio.
At all.
Still on the SM8s.
So lock on the door and put your child to rest. There's fire in the streets now, but it's quiet in your head. We're passing the time.
Can I keep these, Callie? Yeah. Maybe we talk to Jimmy over here and tell him to keep these up and get rid of the NS10s. Yeah. People like the NS10s, I don't know, because they know Chris uses them and they know. But Bob hasn't used them in freaking years. Bob Clearmountain, he was the guy that brought NS10s to it. They're really, really good. Unanimous support from the room here. Absolutely superb. I don't know what to tell you. We'll cut in some information, if it hasn't already happened, with Nate talking about it. I'm not done the calibration. I like the out the box. We just did the dip switches set for being on top of a console. They work great. And it's really interesting to have them in a room with such a stark differences of speakers. And you've got the big boom and fizz boxes over here, which sound fantastic and so much low end. And then you've got the mid-range, and don't get me wrong, I love the Genelex, really great for mixing on. And then suddenly they sit perfectly in the middle. Great work, Callie. I haven't watched anybody else's reviews. I want to see what other people think. Should have probably done that first. I never do, though. I can only give you my opinion, not a derivative form of somebody else's opinion. Anyway, thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, adios, goodbye.